So we made a video about our thoughts on the Attack on Titan ending. That video actually received one comment because I thought it was a great comment. I think there's a lot of things that you can actually take away from it, and I guess we're just gonna react to it. Oh, I see now. You're a casual fan. This makes more sense now. Nothing wrong with that. But to legitimately think a story is bad or the ending is bad because it bothers to actually conclude in a way that makes sense and wraps up their characters well, even for someone who thinks the story is boring, that is a very nonsensical take. Screws consistency, just be cool. You know the first thing that I actually thought about when I read this?
I thought about Dragon Ball.
I did. Oh, we have the
Dragon
same
Ball.
mind. We have the same mind. Okay, so
Like,
let me just start off first, okay, and then I'll let you go. So when I read this, I was thinking, man, I understand that. I kind of understand the Dragon Ball community more and more now because I know that the anime community really hates them for the fact that they always say DBZ is the GOAT. But in my personal perspective, I think that there's more things to life than just having a plot consistency, because there's a lot of moments in DBZ where it's just be like Gohan beating Cell, or just Goku going Ultra Instinct on Jiren. Like all of these moments that you just live for. And these are the type of moments that you actually go to YouTube to see everybody else's reactions to. You know what I'm saying? And this is just my personal perspective, but I feel like those type of videos are the stuff that brings the anime community together. Regardless of how many arguments we throw back at each other, I'm pretty sure if you go in the comments where it's just whether it be like the biggest moments in DBZ or like very emotional moments in One Piece, like maybe, and this is spoilers, but it's not really big spoilers if you haven't read One Piece. There's a moment where Luffy loses his crew, I think in Sabaody arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? And at least I would always search up that scene, and then I would always see all the comments there where nothing but just positivity and just being emotional about the fact that Luffy is basically just breaking down about the fact that he can't do anything for the first time, right?
Everyone's just there like, wow.
Like, and this is just our perspective on things, right? Not every anime has to follow this philosophy, but I think that there's a place for animes to just be something that keeps you on the edge of your seat and just keeps you so entertained. I feel like that's, on the grand scheme of things, there's always room for that. You don't necessarily need all of the contrived, very, very complicated plot developments or anything like that. Sometimes you just need an anime to just hit. Like it just hits,
I always say Dragon Ball Z story, its coolness is what carries it. Cause like the story is kind of, you can find ways to make this, to see why the story is good, but like it's not consistent. Maybe it's consistently the same formula. I'll say that it's consistently, big bad. Goku's gonna start off base form, and then build up to somehow some new mega form or something, or some like fusion, or like some ultra instinct, and it's gonna be like that every single time. You get the consistency of the fact that they have no story. They just do repeat, except with a new character that's cool. They hype the character up by saying, "Oh, this is the god of destruction. This is the emperor of the universe. This is the legendary Super Saiyan." You get the hype. You show them weak for a second, and then he start powering up. Like, did it make sense that Broly out of nowhere was able to catch up to Super Saiyan God, like no problem? Even if he is the legendary Super Saiyan? No, it does not. But guess what? I don't care, because that scene was awesome. Watching Goku just get teared through the floor and everything, I don't care. Forget about consistency. Forget about all of that. That was cool. Okay, that was dope to see.
Right.
Even One Piece Stampede, the movie, when you saw Luffy versus this guy from Goldie Roger's crew, and they were matching, even like pretty close with Conquerors, everything. I'm like, if it was more realistic, of course that's not how that would have went, but it was awesome to see. It makes you forget for a moment, because sometimes, like, I get it. We all want the story to be consistent, but sometimes, right, we need those scenes where it's just, you forget about the story, and then you just see like this character. You forget about everything else, and you just look at this character like, bruh. Example, Levi. Great. We got like the great backstory and everything, and made him even added to the character. But before that, all he was is the basic edge lord character who's a badass. Okay, that's all he was before that. All we knew is he's this guy that didn't care. And guess what? we loved them for it. We had no story background or anything. We just loved him. We thought he was the greatest. We're looking at him like, bruh, oh man, you just want to see every scene with him in there fighting. Any fight, you want to see him in it. Even though, guess what? Nothing to do with story. Every show needs that a few of their moments, especially in the endings. The closer you get to the endings, you need to have more of those moments because you want to be remembered. You don't want to remember as like, this ending was man. You want to remember like, oh, that was cool. So everyone could like forget some of the meh part and remember, oh, that was cool. Oh, this was cool.
Just to expand a little bit on the Dragon Ball comment that I made, I feel like I'm making a backhanded compliment to Dragon Ball fans because it's like, oh, nonsensical, screw consistency. Look, I'm not trying to. All I'm trying to say, Dragon Ball community, is that I support you. You can keep saying whatever the heck you want to say. But personally, for me, I'm not necessarily on the extreme meathead side of things. For example, the Goku versus Broly thing with the movie, the 30 minutes of fighting was a little bit too much. I don't know why you had to work that hard, but I can understand why people really, really love that scene. But it just wasn't for me because you had to shorten it just a little bit. I'm just saying, at some point, you know, all this toxic masculinity is going to get a little boring too. You can't just shove it in my face like for 30 minutes straight. Just to expand on my point, let me tell you what kind of ending I kind of thought of about Attack on Titan so you can understand what kind of balance I kind of want when it comes to just, you know, really like solidifying the ending and then still having that it factor or whatever it is that we've been talking about so far. All right, so this is gonna take a minute. So I guess just sit down, get your popcorn, and I'm gonna just walk you through it. I'm gonna just walk you through what I've been thinking about. Okay. So in the last video, there was this suggestion that I made towards the end during the part where Mikasa actually goes to where Eren's head is and then cuts his head off. But instead of just doing it like that, like quick and swift, Eren actually transports her to another realm where they actually have a fight with each other in their own human forms, maybe in EDM gear. And since Eren still has the original Attack Titan powers inside of him, he can probably take on Mikasa. So they go head to head, right? And it's gonna be a good fight scene. And somewhere in the end, you can probably have a more intimate moment between them where Mikasa actually lands the final blow. Or at least, like, not necessarily a very scathing blow that will kill Eren, because I don't want to kill him yet, because I still have more that I want to do with Eren. But, okay, so let's just say there's the blow that will end the fight, right? So they're just close to each other. And then after a little bit of dialogue between each of them, you just see Eren just staring at Mikasa's eyes, right? Just deep into her eyes. And then in that second, Eren just sees an alternate reality where him and Mikasa are just a little bit older, right? And they actually are in a home where they have a baby that they're raising and they're happy and they're peaceful. And this is where the first shock factor comes in, all right? Because it's going to make Eren question himself. So the first thing that Eren will do after seeing this is literally stare at Ymir and then just ask her, whose memories are these? Because I've never seen this until now, right? And then Ymir. I know Ymir, there's a whole like enigma about her, but let me explain why I think you shouldn't really expand on her at all, okay? So when it comes to Attack on Titan, there's a lot of good characters in here. There's a lot of good plot points and stuff like that. But it started off with these three, Eren, Armin, and Mikasa. So it should end with these three as well. So everybody else, okay, and I know I might get a little bit hate on this, but you don't have to care about Levi that much. You don't have to care about Sasha. Even if Sasha lived, you still don't really have to care about her. You don't have to care about Connie. You don't have to care about Hanji or everybody else. To be honest, they can probably have their own side show. I know I'm going on a little bit of a side rant, but just saying, like, all of the side characters that you're gonna put off to the, to the edge, to the bench, you can just potentially make a sideshow in the future for them. Like, for example, you can make a show about Levi trying to get accustomed to a new lifestyle because he doesn't have his physical capabilities anymore, right? So he's trying to find a new way to adapt to this new lifestyle and stuff like that. I would watch that. All I'm trying to say is you can make up for all the plot inconsistencies and the side characters that you left out by making a sideshow for them in the future, if it's possible. Because Attack on Titan can make bank. They can make bank.
Wait, to make it better, they could do it like on an anniversary episode.
You can do that, I
So
guess. No, you
yeah,
can
like
just go
at
full
first
on,
we have
just create a universe. To be honest, for Attack on
just
Titan,
like make a whole
yo, you
universe.
don't have to go like halfway
Uh,
in. We can go all the way out with all
just go
these
all the
like
way.
extra shows.
Answer all our questions and everything. Just do like a little mini series. No,
Of
full
course,
series.
you can
Anything.
just leave out all the important answers in other miniseries in the future. In
Yeah.
my personal opinion, Attack on Titan ending should have just been focused on Armin, Mikasa, and Eren. Those three, they should have the most screen time no matter what. They should not be sharing it with anybody else. So at this point in time, Eren doesn't necessarily want to follow Ymir anymore. So he kind of like somehow detaches his attachments to Ymir, right? So they get out of the realm, they're back into the real world, and then the final arc begins where it's just Ymir versus Eren plus the Alliance, right? So here's where it gets good because we're now going to Armin. Armin, if we remember, lived because Commander Erwin died, right? But now
Yeah.
we're at a moment where Armin finally gets his best friend back. So you can write something like, oh, okay, my best friend's back. I need to save him, get him away from Ymir's oppression or whatever have you, right? So let me just get into this masculine frame that I've always been striving to get and come up with this alpha-ass most logical plan that everybody has ever seen, like even better than the one in the Shiganshani or whatever the heck war it was called. I forgot. But it has to be the best plan that Armin has ever made that will make everybody go, hey, you know what, Commander Erwin, we love you. R.I.P. for sure. But
Just
you had to
Owen
die
Isaac.
so that Armin can live this moment. This is the moment that he has to live for to prove himself that he was the one that had to live. Right? So that's how the whole war, like, I don't know how you're necessarily gonna like put things together. It doesn't necessarily have to be too logical. Maybe you can just be like, okay, Eren has this counterattack that could work against Ymir, but you have to time it. I don't know how you're gonna time it, but we're gonna set this up and we're just gonna gamble. And this gamble will work, and we're gonna be able to take down Ymir once and for all and maybe take away our powers, like some, Avatar Aang versus Ozai, where he just like exercises like all of like Ozai's powers or something like that.
Also, you could even have a moment where Eren was like moment like everyone's just like, see, I knew you could do it or something. Like he believed in Armin. That he knew Armin was going to be able to pull it off.
So the miracle happens, okay, and then we're gonna have a little arc just post the final battle, where it's gonna get a little bit political. So let's say at this point in time, Eren has absorbed Ymir's powers somehow. So Eren is basically the almighty powerful. He has also absorbed everybody else's Attack Titan powers. I mean, not just Attack Titan powers. All of the other 9 Titan powers. Like Eren pretty much has control on all of that, no matter what, right? So he's God at this point. But he's very conflicted because he just realizes everything at this point. He thought that he did it because of his free will, but no, it's basically Ymir manipulating his own memories against them. Why I say it's a political arc, because I guess Eren would ideally be in court again, but this time it's going to be in front of the world government or whatever have you, right? And they're basically just arguing against whether or not you're going to kill Eren and how he's gonna pay for his sins, yada yada yada. So Eren obviously at this point will probably plead guilty no matter what, because there's no way that he's gonna be okay with making himself live after killing 80% of the population. It's not gonna happen. But Paradis will be on his side and they're gonna work some terms with him. Okay, so after all the drama is past and gone, they're gonna decide on this one deal. So before Eren gained all of the god powers that, all the Titan powers basically at once, he only had 4 years to live, right? I don't know how many years he had left in those 13 in total. So the deal is he will live out whatever years he was supposed to live out when he got his Titan powers, but he's gonna spend those 4 years trying to rebuild like cities or whatever, right?
Make up for everything he'd done.
Yes. So he has to do all this community service. And then he's gonna get his death sentence when he's supposed to die. That's the deal that they're gonna make, right? And Eren will take that as long as everybody else promises that you're gonna try to work things out with Paradis. See if you can talk it out, right? So it's a bit realistic. I don't know if it's realistic in a sense. You're basically giving the world 4 years to forgive each other, basically, right? And Aaron's gonna be like the mediator, so that nobody goes crazy. And we get to chapter 139, and this whole chapter is just taking place 4 years later, right? And then we get to the scene where Aaron and Mikasa is just a little bit older, and they're in their house.
Oh, with that memory.
Yeah. So Mikasa feels a little bit more comfortable. She's smiling. She's not necessarily as stressed out as she used to be. And, you know, we see a completely different side of her, basically, where she's just enjoying life. And then Aaron as well, he's enjoying life too, right? And we just see like these first acts of like being romantic to each other. Now, I'm not necessarily a Mikasa and Aaron shipper because that is his stepsister. I'm just saying. But if that's how you want to go with the ending, that's fine. That's fine with me. I don't really care.
It's a little weird, but there's no complaints.
I think I would still find it cute if you just left out 139 as them, literally just, you know, have finally like working out a family together, and then seeing if they can have a baby too as well, right? So their baby is gonna be the one that's born into the new world for the first time, where there's no Titans and stuff like that. So
they can even do a little cute thing where it's Mikasa and Historia hanging out or something. I don't know.
No, you don't have to. Like I said, you don't even have to put Historia. You don't even have to give Historia screen time. You really don't. Like it's all about Mikasa, Armin, and Eren. All right, you can maybe put one panel of Historia there, one panel of Levi if you really want to, but you really don't have to. So the entire first half of 139 is just Eren and Mikasa just in their home, and then you know it's bittersweet because he has to die eventually, right? And then the last half of 139 is Eren basically walking to his death, whatever death sentence he's supposed to be at, and it's gonna be similar to like maybe how like Goldie Rogers walking to his like, you know, execution.
Oh, the execution with a smile.
In this situation, Eren is literally accepting his faith, yada yada yada. But in the middle of his walk, he's just gonna break down and then cry because he's just gonna admit to everybody that I was just a kid. I'm sorry for the bad words, but I'm trying to make this as emotional as I can because I'm pretty sure the actor for Eren can kill this scene. Like he can just be bawling his eyes out and be like, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted freedom. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to kill anybody. All right. But I know that I can't. I know that it's bad what I done, but please just help me. Because I don't want to die. I really don't want to die. And then you just wrap the scene. And that's the ending. And you know everybody's going to be bawling their eyes out because everybody realizes that, hey, Eren had no free will since chapter 1. But guess what? Towards the end, he still has to take accountability for what he's done.
Yeah.
No matter what. Because he has to stand in 2 feet as a man. And that's the reality of things. That's the reality of the world that he's in. There's nothing else he can do.
Bro, I would love a scene like that. Where it's just at the end, it's just Eren realizing maybe that those things, it wasn't the thing that he should have done.
Right?
It wasn't like where he's realizing like, yeah, maybe there was a better way.
So Eren in this point is still confused, but he's trying to accept the fact that he can't live.
Yeah. He wants to live, but he knows he can't.
And that's your ending. That's every scene that I mentioned would hit, in my opinion. If you don't like it, I understand. I would love to hear somebody else's like ending theories, to be honest. That's all you need. You don't need all this plot. Like tying plot holes is not everything. It's really not everything. So I'm not trying to prove that my point is something that should make sense. If it's nonsensical and it's invalid, I understand that. That's fine. This is just how low my standards are, I guess. I look, writing is very important. I really do. Okay, and I'm not trying to overstep Isayama's like creativity or anything like that. I think he did an amazing job with seasons 1, 2, 3, and majority of season 4. To be honest, like I would have never thought about creating something like this. Like in my opinion, in a few years down in the line, I will probably think Attack on Titan's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
you can objectively. I think everybody can objectively agree that this is at least a 7 out of 10.
I would say 8 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, sure. You know what? Maybe I'm going a little lower, but 8 out of 10, yeah. it has passed that threshold where it's just so good. It definitely has passed that threshold. It doesn't even need an amazing ending to get an 8 out of 10.
That's what I'm saying. Because we might not like the ending, but we still agree the show itself and the manga itself was, it hits. It hits real good.
And I also understand that this is also a selfish expectation of mine, because I understand there's animes out there that start off really, really like exciting, and they have more of a, you know, quiet ending. I've seen animes like that. I can't name it off the top of my head. All right. But anyways, I would love to hear more of your thoughts. And also, just a disclaimer, if you have your own like ending, like even if it's something like, oh, I wish like Eren and Astoria would have this type of scene or whatever like that, let me know. I actually want to hear it.
Yeah.
I really do. Like don't worry about whether or not it's valid, it feels valid or not, or it makes sense. You don't have to worry about that. Some of them are probably gonna be funny as hell though. Like I might laugh, but I welcome it. I really do welcome it. I want to hear it. So, but anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Leave a comment, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and peace. So I know that we talked a little bit about whether or not the anime is actually gonna move a little bit away from the original source and actually do its own ending, right? And I said that they were not gonna do it. And I also want to expand on that. So the reason why I don't necessarily think that the anime will do much is because